So, guys, I want to give me a sec. Okay, yeah, I've started recording. I want to be given the opportunity to welcome our guest for today, Saratu. I don't know. Are you going to? It's your video going to be on?
I will turn it on towards the end to avoid distraction.
Oh, nice, nice. So, I wish to welcome you. Saratu is a Commonwealth scholar, and if you have been following us on LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram or TikTok, you would see that she is an amazing person. Her bio is actually posted on the flyer that a lot of you have, and I can see we have over 40 people here. We should have more than this. Please share this link you wherever you get the link, share it with your friends. This is a free to attend section for everyone. That's because I I love Saratu's teaching. I mean if I love the way she presents um whatever it is she wants to present to us today, and it's still gonna be as fresh as if I'm gonna be hearing it for the first time. So I want to welcome you again to Saratu is not just a Commonwealth scholar, she is also a data scientist. So she is the queen of Power BI. She's very good at it. And our section today is going to be about product, is going to be about how to deal with problems, how to solve problems as a data analyst. We're talking about business problems. It's not just enough to have the skills, but how can you make yourself relevant and things like that. So I would love to go down that she may rise. So welcome, Saratu.
Thank you, David, and thank you for having me here and each and every one of you at the Health Technologies. I'm so happy to be here, and today we are going to have a discussion on problem solving in the business context by applying it through data analytics. So, as David earlier explained, my name is Saratu Bello. I'm a public policy data scientist, and I'm going to be your instructor in the next 2 hours. I want you to feel relaxed, make yourself at home. This session is an interactive session. Hello, can you kindly mute your mics? Thank you for that. So the problem solving session is an interactive session. There will be so many times I'm going to ask for your feedback or what are your experience during that time or what do you think your opinions about social things and the likes. And in any case you feel you have a questions, feel free to call me back and I'll be willing to answer that. So thank you and let's get started. So I spoke about discussing about problem solving in data analytic context. So the first thing you need to understand is for you to solve a problem in data or to be a great problem solver in a data, you need to understand the data mining framework, which like we can see from the left hand side, we can see somebody trying to dig through the ground in search of something. So as a data analyst or data scientist, this is typically what your day-to-day job is going to be, going through lots of data in search of meaningful information, patterns, or unique things you can use to leverage a particular business on it, upon it. So in that regards, I tend to define data mining as a process of discovering pattern in large data sets, which it's going to like include methods of intersections of machine learning, statistics, and database uses. I know based on discussions with David, he said a lot of you are quite knowledgeable in databases, statistical testing in Excel, and so many softwares that you've used. So that's not a problem. So the data mining framework It's now broken down into two categories, which we have CRIPS DM, which stands as cross-industry standard process for data mining, and we have the KDD, which is knowledge discovery and data mining. But the CRIMS DM is the most popular framework that is widely used across all industries by data scientists and data analytics as well. So for the sake of that, I'm going to focus on this class to be on CRIMS DM as well. Thank you. So as we've picked CRIMS DM as the topic for discussion for this problem solving session, what does this CRIMS DM mean and how can it be done? Hello? Please kindly mic. Hello? Abiel, please, the person speaking should kindly mute his mic so he doesn't disturb the class. Thank you. So like we've said, CRIMS DM, what it does, it gives you a blueprint of a step-by-step action that you need to take in order for you to run a data analytic project from the start to the end. That's basically what the CRIMS DM does, and it gives you a robust way on how you can approach each and every problem that you have that has to relate to data. Either you are doing business analysis, you're trying to do some regression analysis or machine learning models and the like. So you can always follow the CRIMS DM blueprint, which we can see in this cycle. This is what is called the CRIMS DM. So according to CRIMS DM, it has six stages of things you have to do in order to run a data project from the start to end. The first is business understanding to data understanding. And these are one of the crucial stages in CRIMS DM. It has reversible arrows, which indicates you are going to spend more time in this stage, meaning that this is a key stage that you are likely spend more time, because once you get these two stages wrong, you are likely to have all your analysis to be wrong, especially the business understanding. And as we go through the lecture, you're going to see how voluminous the business understanding is. Then we have the data preparation and modeling, where you do the exploratory data analysis, you clean your data, you handle any data errors or deaths, and then you model your data. This is also a key stage in CRIMCM, where there will be a lot of forth and back between the data preparation and modeling of your data. Reason why, it's because in as much as you've cleaned your data, when you come to model, you will realize, oh, you needed some things that you've cleaned, you might need to revert it back, or you need to remove this, they are not necessary for the model, things like that. So that's why you keep going forth and back between the two stages. And just like every other process in life, whatever you do, it's good for you to evaluate and see, is this thing good enough? Has it meet the requirement? Is it match for the business objectives? So that's same thing with your project as well. Then you decide on how you are going to deploy. We're going to see some different ways in which you can deploy your data project, either to a website, or you're presenting at the board meeting, or you're just sending it to your senior management, or whatever the decision might have to be. But this is just like a holistic introduction of the CRIMS DM and the CRIMS DM cycle of the six stages of what it offers in guiding you to run a data project from start to finish. I hope we're all good. Okay, I'll take that for a yes. Hello.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you. You can
Yeah,
proceed.
please. This is my first time of using Microsoft Team. Is it not possible to? Is there no option for screen sharing? I mean.
Screen sharing. I'm the one sharing the screen. Can't you see my screen?
I can't see anything.
Can somebody confirm if he can't see my screen? You need to confirm with your
I can
colleagues
see
in the
your
chat.
screen.
Oh,
I
we
I
can
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 see
see
I
I
can
can
you.
see
see your
and
screen. I can see
Okay,
your
so
I
screen.
can see.
you
Go
need
to
to
the
log
notification
out.
shop.
I can see your screen. No.
I can see your
Okay,
screen.
thank you,
Can see
everyone.
your
The link in question, you need to log out and log in again, or you need to refresh your browser if you are connected to a web browser.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you, everyone. So the business understanding of CRIMS DM, it's going to be the first thing we are going to discuss. I'm going to take each and every stage of the CRIMS DM and explain it in a deeper way and how we can relate to it in our data project. So starting with business understanding, this is a phase of the cycle that focuses mainly on the project aim and objective, the requirements from the business perspective, and how you can convert that knowledge into a data mining problem definition, or how you can apply it into solving your data challenge. So before we get deeper into the business understanding, I want you to get familiar with some of the stages that is involved in solving problem in general. Which are these key stages? We have the structure problem, where you need to split problems into smaller pieces for you to like find an easy way into appending a solution to it. So it's just like in real life scenario when you're prompted with a problem, if you are able to split it into smaller group, it will be easier for you to start thinking about it than trying to attempt the entire bulk of the problem. And that's why we said after splitting the problem, you need to conduct research on each piece of the problem. So you need to check, is this angle issues about the customers, or is it about the staff, or is it about legal registrations? Is this sector problem about the transactions or returns of items, things like that? Then you need to analyze each of the problems that you've researched on. When you've analyzed it, you now see the correlation, like the relationship between the problems. Let's assume we are splitting one problem into four. We've conducted research on each one of them and we've analyzed each one of them as well. So at the end of your analysis, you would be able to see areas in which these four problems can connect with one another, or one is dependent on another. And that's what will bring you into conclusion by highlighting your key findings and bringing out recommendations. Because, mind you, this is problem solving in business context with data. So, whatever is going to be your conclusion, it has to be a call to action. A lot of, not like your academic projects that you do, they end with questions. Their conclusion and recommendation are mostly questions, which is why some other student can pick it and do it as their next project as well. But in the business context, your conclusions and recommendation has to be a call to action. Let it be that, oh, we need to increase this number of staff in each of the units, or we do no longer need uh having 3 stations in each unit. If the company can cope with having just few number of unit but with increased number of staff. So whoever is reading your recommendation and you have a data to back up those recommendation, it's going to be easy for that person to implement it. And that's why it's made like that in the business context. Whatever you are recommending, let it be an action driven something, not a question or just suggestion. Are we good? Please, some of us are still having their mics open and it's kind of distracting me and others with the noise from their background. Kindly mute your mics. Thank you. So, discussing about the business understanding, it's further broken down into 5. It's believed that for you to understand a business from beginning to end, it will have to follow either one or two or all of these 5 stages of business understanding, which is one, creation of problem statements, identification of potential root cause, designing an issue tree, the McKinsey approach, and the prioritization metrics. So let's get to discuss them one after the other. First of all, can anybody identify the man from the right hand side? Does anybody knows his name?
Is Albert Einstein.
Oh, that's correct.
It's
Oh, thank you, everyone. So this is Albert Einstein. I know a lot of us knew him as a famous scientist that has made an enormous contribution to the science that we currently have now. So according to Albert Einstein, he believes that the formulation of the problem is often more essential than its solution. What he's trying to say here is that for you to be able to understand what the problem is more essential than finding its solution, because oftentimes you will know there's a problem, but you can't pinpoint exactly what is that problem or what is attached to those problems. Do we all agree with Albert Einstein, or do we have a contrary opinion?
We agree.
I,
No,
I agree with you.
You said?
so we
I
agree
agree with the quote.
with
Yeah,
saying the unknown is half solved.
Yeah, we are. Yeah,
exactly. So because of
like
his
a
previous
problem
state,
shared is half solved, something like that.
yeah, that's true. So because of his previous statement, he now added that if he had an hour to solve a problem, he would spend 55 minutes thinking about the problem and 5 minutes thinking about the solution. Do we all agree with this? You can think of it as an hour, making 55 minutes thinking about the problem and 5 for solution, or in a scale of 1 to 100, taking like 95% thinking about the problem and 5% offering the solution. Whichever one. Do we all agree, or do we have a contrary view on this?
I think we
I think for me, I would say it all depends on the
thinking about
kind
the
of
problem is
problem you
Yes,
are.
it's kind of problem you
Problem.
have. Exactly.
Okay. So the thing is, let me shed more light on what Albert Einstein is trying to communicate to us, is that the thing is, when once a problem is broken down to you, to its simplest base, it will be very easy for you to know what the solution is. And that is why he said thinking about the problem is going to take the highest amount of your time than the solution. Solution is a very easy thing. When you start to work on business problems, data challenges, you now start to realize how difficult it is to even understand a problem. Like me, I have once had a project that I was working on data. I think I spent 10 days working on the problem. It was 3 days to submission. Then I realized I completely got the problem wrong and I had to restart. And mind you, I spent in those 3 days left, I was able to redo everything, get the right solutions, get the right problem statements, and all. So you can see how I took 10 days working on a project while I'm having wrong problem understanding. But when I
But we
We
can't hear.
can't hear you.
can hear you.
I think it's the network.
it's like
Saratu, your mic is
okay,
muted.
okay, I've just unmute. Thank you for letting me know. So I'm just going to give you a tip that for you to be an effective
Please, can
problem
people
writer.
in? Please, can
You
you let
said?
people in from? Can you let me people in from the laptop? I'm using the phone, but I want to come in with the laptop.
I think it's direct entry. You should be able to join automatically.
Okay, I've joined now. Thank you.
Yeah. So another tip is that once you become an effective, please can you mute your mics? Thank you. So once you are being able to write an effective problem statement, it's not just going to be a business skill for you, it's also going to have an impact in your life, which is like seen as a life skill. So that's why it's good for us to invest in being a good problem solvers, not just about our work, but also about our life as well. So these are some of the questions we ask in trying to understand what the problem is for you to develop a problem statement. One is, what is the problem? In one or two sentences, you should be able to highlight what the problem is that you're trying to solve. It could be based on cost or money, time or access, service or product quality, health, safety, or risk. This is like fixing it to a particular niche and being specific in the area that that problem is revolving on. We have the second question as, why is the problem? Like you're trying to describe the pain associated with that problem. Like what is the effect of that problem? Is it going to cause a decline in revenue for the company? Is it going to result uh, to customer unsatisfaction, things like that, or customers leaving the business as well? And you can ask, where do you observe it? So you're trying to like isolate a certain area in which you notice that particular problem. It could be you notice it with the customers, you notice it with the products or services, department, location. So you, if you follow the questions, you can see as you ask one questions and you go to the second one, it's like narrowing the entire problem for you, because the narrower you go, the easier it's going to for you to be able to find a solution to that particular problem. So we have, who does this affect? Why you are trying to identify the people that are affected by the problem. It could be staff, family, regulatory agencies, or customers. We have, when did we first observe the problem? Like you are trying to observe, trying to note that when is the first time that you've noticed that problem? Is it a reoccurrence event? Is it the first time you are noticing it? And we have, do we observe the problem? How do we observe the problems, like the symptoms? Or it could be that people are sending bad reviews on your company's website or social media. Or it could be that you are noticing a lot of missing of items whenever you have a stock to take or things like that. So based on what calls your attention to start searching about that about that problem is what is going to be the symptoms or sign for that particular problem. How often do we observe it? So you are trying to calculate to see what's the magnitude of the problem. Is it something that has a trend? Has it been happening like every end of the month you are recording this kind of event? Is it something that happens every quarter, or is it a seasonal thing? Only in festive season that you are noticing a lot of like bad reviews from customers, or the quality of goods being poor, things like that. So you can think maybe it's because of too much orders and you are trying so hard to meet up with the demand, and it's affecting the quality of your products or service. So you need to, when you understand these questions and how they relate to the answers that you are getting from them, it's going to narrow down the particular problem we have. So let's see how the answers to these questions can guide us into having what we call a problem statement. So I'm going to read out this example for us. So Sis's Delight sells customized drinks and snacks to their customers across Lagos. The delivery time at their Yaba location has been averaging 38 minutes on Friday and Saturday nights, which is the high volume periods. As a result, 30% of their products are delivered late, past 30 minutes. Delivering products in less than 30 minutes is crucial to increase revenue and customer satisfaction. So you can see in just few lines, 6 to 7 lines, I've been able to capture all these questions that I've been asking. Where is the problem? The problem is at the Yaba location. Why is it important? Because it's affecting the increment of revenue and customer satisfaction. What is the problem itself? Like, we are having a challenge of averaging 38 minutes on Friday and Saturday nights. And what's the magnitude? So you can see we were able to even calculate it and have 30% of their products are delivered late. So one of the powerful things you need to take notes on in writing a problem statement like this is numbers speaks power in them and percentages, because even if somebody is scanning through a document, anytime he sees a percentage or a number figure, he would want to know what is this number trying to communicate. And that's why every effective writer or problem solver writes with facts and numbers, because that's what is going to give what you are communicating the strength it needs to communicate to across to the board. Are we good? Does anybody have a question?
You're good to go. There's no question
Thank
from
you.
your writing here is well explanatory.
All right, thank you. So the next thing is, I know problem statement, if it's your first time you are trying to build it, it's going to be quite ambiguous for you or challenging, especially if you are trying to keep it within the 6 to 7 lines. It's fine depending on your problem. You can reach out to 10 lines, but it shouldn't go out of 10, because once it started to go out of 10, it's now becoming 2 paragraphs or more. But whoever you give a problem statement that is just a paragraph or few lines, it's easy to read and to help guide you into solving it. And that's why we come up with the SMART rule. I know we might be familiar with the rule, where it helps to guide you into staying focused on what you are doing without like telling more story or going into some lengthy explanations that might not be necessary for that situation at the moment. So the SMART rule stands for, like, for S, it's trying to remind you to be specific. Like, just go straight to the point. You don't need to speak so many grammars and all. We have measurable. You can see here we've been able to measure 30%. We've been able to calculate the time to be past 30 minutes, and we also have to calculate this to be 38 minutes. So we are able to measure what we are speaking about, and it's action oriented. Let your problem statement be something that is calling for action, because as if I'm a manager and you state this problem statement to me, it's going to be very easy for me to start like bringing out solutions. Okay, what is the route that the delivery man follows? How many customers do we have? Things like that, so that you can know, do you need to open an outlet close to that location, or you need to change the routing in which the dispatch riders are following so that to reduce the time. You can think of many creative answers to this, and let the problem statement be relevant. It has to be relevant because you can see how relevant it is. It's something that has to do with revenue and customer satisfaction, and no company wants to reduce its revenue or like lost its customers. And let it be time bound. Always have a timing on it, and that's why we were asking about, is it something that has been reoccurring, or does it has a magnitude of like cyclic or trends that it keep occurring on. I hope this helps. So now that we've seen some of the examples of questions that are SMART rule, and now we are going to see some of the example of answers to those questions that are not SMART rule. So the first one is when you are trying to talk and you are not being specific. It's just like you are being asked and you are now saying better manage the business. Of course, everybody would want to manage their business, but this is too generic. You have to be focused, like be specific about it. Does he need to manage like the staff retention? Does he need to manage the customer customer satisfaction? Let it be specific to a particular sector, department, or an event. When we say non-measurable, you give somebody an answer like reverse our deteriorating performance. Okay, where does he start? What of the which metrics is he going to reduce its deteriorating performance? So you need to have a specified KPIs, which are the key performance indicators. It's possible to assess whether or not we've made progress if you have a KPI that you are measuring its progress. We have action oriented, just like saying increase sales and decrease costs. Like these are both appealing goals, but it has to be something that somebody can quickly take an action to do that. And we have relevance when you said increase profit by raising prices. Well, this can be relevant, but it's insignificant to the business, because no business will just wake up and increase prices. You have to think about your competitors. What are they selling their product at? Do you have any competitive advantage or value extra to your product that is making you to increase your price? Because people will not just because they like your brand and continue buying it at a ridiculous price. We have eventually increased profit by 10%. Well, it's a good advice, but if you don't set a timeline for yourself to achieve a particular percentage of whatever you are calculating to achieve, it's not going to make sense, because 10% profit could be within a year, it could be within 6 months, it could be within a first quarter or within the first month. So depending on the company size or the kind of project plans that you have and the possibility of achieving that, because some bigger companies achieving 10% can take years for them to do that. So you need to be strategic in what you're saying and how you present it as well. So that's all for problem statement. If anybody have a problem, kindly like use the raise hand icon. Let me just check, so we should be a bit organized. Does anybody have a question? I think we are good. So the next one is identifying the root cause. Like we've seen in so many documentaries how problems have been solved, but they keep on coming back. And that is why this technique is now being developed, which is called the 5-why analysis, because it helps you to identify what are the potential root cause of a problem. It's often believed that if you can fix a problem from its roots, it's very hard for that problem to reoccur. And even if it's going to reoccur, it's going to take a very long time for it to happen. And this is the face behind the development of this 5-why analysis. His name is Sakechi Toyoda. I know you might not recognize the man, but you might be popular with the Toyota cars you've been seeing. So this is the founder behind the Toyota car. He developed the 5-why technique in 1930s. He had a board of managers in his company who comes to make decisions and the likes, and he noticed that whatever decisions they are making, sometimes it's not working because they are only making it from the boardroom. They don't go to the shop floor to check what is really happening and see what is happening in the field before coming to make the decision. So he first gave it a name as go and see philosophy. So no board member can come and make any suggestions without going to the field and see with his eyes what is happening before you come to make a decision about it. And that's how the 5-why analysis was given birth to. So some, like in effect, the way the 5-why analysis work is that you have a particular problem which you've defined, then you now start asking why up to 5 times. The reason why it's shortened into 5 times, it's to avoid you from asking so many whys that might not be significant, or whys that will be duplicates of one another or overlapping of one another. And sometimes people do go out of the 5, but the 5 is the standard. So let's see a scenario on how this 5-wire analysis was applied. So this is a plant supervisor at the Toyota company, and they have a machine that keeps breaking down all the time. So secretary decided to apply the 5-wire analysis to attain what is the root cause of this machine that it keeps breaking concurrently. So the first thing that happens, the supervisor went to the machine to check. So he now asked himself, why has the machine stopped? And when he checked around, he noticed there was an overload that tripped out. Then he further asked himself, why overload trip? And he noticed there was an insufficient oil on the shaft. He now asked himself, why insufficient oil? And he noticed that there's an oil pump that is inefficient. He now asked himself, why is pump not efficient? He noticed that pump drive shafts were worn out. He further asked, why is this shaft worn out? So he noticed there's an oil filter that has blocked the shaft. So you can see how one question is leading to the next question down to the root cause of the major problem. So because of an oil filter that has blocked the shaft, it's now causing the machine to keep stopping every now and then. But this wasn't. Hello? Oh. So this wasn't being identified till when they had to go and see for themselves, and they noticed the root cause to be the filter that has blocked the shaft. So this is a typical examples of how the 5-why is written, and I hope it helps. One trick I do is whenever I write a 5-why analysis like this, I like to read my answers from backward, like to see if it's really making sense, so that I cross all my T's and dot my I's, like to say oil filter was blocked with swabs, and that caused the pump drive to shaft to be worn out, which leads to oil pump to be inefficient and causing insufficient oil on shaft, which leads to overload to trip out. So that's just my own approach of cross-checking whatever 5-why analysis I've right. I will read the answers from the fifth to the first one to just ensure, does it really make sense? Does it answers what I'm trying to find? It's like that. So these are some of the reasons why we use the 5 whys. One is to identify the cause, not just the symptoms. We can see the symptoms obviously, but we can not always identify what is the cause of those symptoms. So when you do the 5-why, it tends to make that clear for you. We have perform an evidence-based analysis. Of course, it's evidence-based because you've went and see it with your eyes. It eliminates issues in your system for good, which is right. You hardly see problems that have been tackled when the root cause is known and they come back again. Because even if they come back again, that same solution might probably fix them again. So we have it seeks improvement and welcome changes because you are going to the root cause of the problem. But it's possible by the time you get to the root cause of the problem, it's not your area of specialty. So you need to seek other expertise into the problem, and it's you have to definitely welcome changes that are going to come from your colleagues or anybody fixing that it's with you. And it also helps to build a culture that embraces progress. Progress is a key in every data project that you are working with because you don't have all the time to work on that project. Most of data projects they come as contracts like 1 month, 3 months, and very little that would take 6 months. So yeah, a data consultant, you are working for a project of 3 months. You don't have the luxury of time. So because of that, it's when you fix problems from the roots, it's going to save you a lot of time because if it's not going to come back again, that means you are done for good with that aspect and you move to the next one. So let's see another application of the 5-why analysis. So you were caught for overspeeding and you were asked, why are you overspeeding? and you were like you were late for work. Why were you late for work? You got up late. And why did you get up late? You're like, alarm clock didn't work. Why did the alarm clock work? You are like, you have dead batteries. Why do you have dead batteries? You forgot to replace them. So even as of this, you can see how one thing is leading to the root cause of it. I know a lot of us don't use alarm clock, bedside clock, and the likes to wake us up. We mostly set an alarm with our phones, but you might have come back late. You placed your phone to charge and you didn't put it properly, so it ended up draining out instead of charging, or they took off the light. So many issues can come up, and that can lead you to wake up late. And these are some solutions, like use your phone to set alarm and get a plug-in alarm clock instead of the one that uses battery. We have another one where our client is refusing to pay for the ashobi we designed and sued for the train. And why is that? The delivery was late, so the ashobi could not be used for the party. And why is that? We have the job took longer than we expected. Why is that? We ran out of sewing materials, thread, and needles. Why is that? All materials were used on a large last minute order. Why is that? We did not have enough stock and could not order new supplies in time. So you can see right from the start, they knew they don't have enough stock and they were not able to order in time, but they still think, oh, they can play the time trick and maybe play their gamble to be able to do it. And it failed, and they ended up giving the disappointment, and that's why the bride is failing to pay for the ashobi, which wasn't used at all. A solution could be let them find a supplier that could deliver on to be able to avoid waste and respond to customer demand. So I hope we are getting how the 5 why analysis is asked. One question leading to the next, and the next leading to the other, and down to what is the major cause of that particular problem. If we have if we have any problems so far, feel free to let me know. Any question, rather? Okay, so I have a small task for you. I want you to all think about it. But first of all, does anybody identify the ship in the slide, this particular ship in the image?
Looks like Titanic.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
correct.
Titanic.
Yeah.
Titanic. The answer is on the slide. Let me
Shape.
let me give 5 why. Why stand? Eh?
Okay,
Eh?
that's excellent. It's like everybody has watched the Titanic movie, and for the sake of those that haven't, it's a very tragic movie that a ship was built, the best ship as of that time, and so many things have been said. They were like, even God cannot sink this ship, and it ended up having to sink in the middle of the sea, and so many lives were lost. So this same Titanic experience was brought to three types of data analysts, one from the operations department, one from the management, and one from the design department. And each one of them was asked to conduct a 5 why analysis and let the company know what is the root cause of the problem that made Titanic to sink. So, as the analyst that you are all, I want you to listen to this 5 why analysis and approaches built by these three departments, and tell me which 5 why analysis would you support or would you agree with. So, the first analysis was taken to the operations department, and they started with the Titanic sank. Why did it sink? We have water filled the hull. That's the second answer. We have why did the water fill the hull? There's an opening in the hull. Why is that? The ship hit the iceberg. Why is that? The ship turned maneuver ineffective. Why is that? Lookout identified iceberg late. So for the operations department, they believe is the fault of the lookouts. If the lookout have identified the iceberg that the ship hit, there wouldn't have been issues. So the same challenge was taken to the management. They were like, Titanic sank. Why did it sink? Water filled the hull. Why did the water fill the hull? There was an opening in the hull. Why is that? The ship hit the iceberg. Why did the ship hit the iceberg? Ship turn maneuver ineffective. Why is that? They said because of the speed of the ship. So the management feel that it's not about identifying that iceberg late. The ship was cruising on a very high speed. And that was why by the time it was trying to turn around from the iceberg or stop, the maneuver became ineffective because maybe it has reached its speed limit or something like that. So we have the design department, which they were like, Titanic sank. Why did it sink? They were like, water filled the hull. Why did the water fill the hull? There was an opening in the hull. Why was that? They said the steel plate pulled apart on hull. So it's just like, anything you build either with wood or steel, you have two steels that you bring together with notes to tie them together. So same thing like that. Why is that? The strength of the overlapping joint. So they believe that the overlapping joint that was used to hold those two steels together, it wasn't enough. And that was why it pulled apart. And they were asked, why is that? They said because of the strength of the rivets. I know people from the engineering background will understand all these kinds of steel platings, rivets, and the like. But they are more concerned is on the plates, the rivets that were used to build to construct the ship. Their strength was not that good enough. That was where they were coming from. So now that we have the three departments and their root cause problems, the operations is lookout, the management is the speed, and the design is the rivets. So I want you to like think about it, and I'll it's first to come, first to serve, but I won't have the luxury to listen to everybody's response. But the first 10 people can let me know, who do you think have the best 5 wire analysis and who do you support? The floor is open.
For me, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, my name is Favor. For me, I'll say the management team because if going by the analysis of the design team, even if the
Mm-hmm.
strength of the rivets were good, with the speed, if they still had much speed, it still would have hit high.
Okay.
So I think I'll say the speed was
All right. Thank you for your contribution. Anybody?
My name
Please
is
kindly mute your
um,
mic when you are done speaking so that it doesn't interfere with the next person's one. Yeah, I can
Okay,
hear you, but there's a sound from the background.
can you hear me?
Yeah, I think
okay.
one lady wants to speak. Can you allow her first?
Okay.
Thank you.
I will go with the management because from the speed, even if from the design, even if the rivet was perfectly done, but with the speed, with the high level of speed, if there's a possibility of it pulling out. So if they were so careful with the speed, they won't have all these issues. So I go
Okay.
with the management.
Okay.
I'll go. Can I go
I will
next?
The
go with.
next, I think the guy that wanted to speak.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go with operations because when a ship is built, operations, they
Mm.
look out, identify the iceberg late because shit, this echo.
No, just continue. I can hear you.
All right, because the lookout identify the iceberg late. When a ship is built, there is I've forgotten what it's called, but it is used to identify dangers. It is used to identify things around the ship, and it helps direct the ship as well. So because that stuff identified it late, that was why the ship sank, not the speed.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Because
Thank you for your
if it had
contribution.
identified it earlier, it would have swerved, it would have taken a
All
turn.
right.
Yeah.
I
Okay,
want
good
to.
Okay.
evening. Can you
Good
hear
evening.
me?
Evening. Yeah.
Good evening.
My name is Esther. I
Okay,
think,
Esther.
hello? Okay.
I can
I
hear you,
think I'll
Esther.
go with the design.
Okay, hello.
I think the design team are at fault because why I say they are at fault is if they had like tightened the beam, I don't know the engineering term to use for that. If they are tightening it, even if the operation were not on the lookout, as long as it's very tight, it can still move.
Mm,
So that is why I think I'll
okay.
go for the
Hello.
Okay, for me.
All right.
Hello.
So my name is
Yes.
Esther as well.
Okay, this is
Hello.
Florence.
Okay,
Let's raise
Florence, you
our
This is
can go
Florence.
on.
call us name so that we
Yeah,
can answer.
okay.
Like everybody
So
just
the
do it.
three departments,
Nobody wear ourselves.
the three
All these
departments have their
good.
own, they saw it from their own different perspective. But for me, I would support the operations department.
Okay.
Okay, can you hear me? Good evening.
Evening.
Hello.
Mercy. Okay, I'll go with the operation department. The reason is that seeing that movie, I noticed the lookout noticed the iceberg late, and apart from that, the ship was not actually on speed; it was actually slow. But in the process of dodging the ice, some parts of the ship had to hit it. Now, there's one thing I've got to understand. Water is not your friend. Water is only good when drinking or probably when taking your bath or cooking. But if water flows with a high speed from the river and hits, you can't control it. No matter how strong the ship is, it's actually going to break something. Or no matter how strong the material is going to still find its way inside the ship. So I'll go with the operation.
Okay.
Well,
Okay, my
I
name
will
is
go.
My name is.
Me, I will go
Hello.
with
um,
Okay.
management.
For
hello,
me,
can you hear me?
can you hear me?
Yeah,
Design.
please,
Hello.
can we just organize ourselves?
Let's raise
Okay,
up
I'll
our
go
let's
for
hand. Let's by our name so that we can talk.
Okay, sorry,
No,
can you give me 2 seconds to refresh because I don't know why I can't see the participants. That's why I didn't use the raise hand icon, but let me just refresh and probably I'll have access to that. Thank you.
okay.
That would be better.
yeah.
I still I still don't have access to seeing the names. Let me just reach out to David. David, are you in the call? I need access to seeing the names of the people raising hands, or if you can help me with calling them based on the order they raise their hand, it could help as well.
Okay, Chinazo, you can go first.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I think I would
Evening.
go with the design team because using the method you said, looking at the problem state, the 5 whys from the back, the first one, they found out that the strength of the rivets was not up to standard. Then why was that? The overlapping joints didn't have enough strength. What happened? The steel plates pulled apart on the hull, and that led to openings in the hull. Then you had water filling the hull, and that caused the ship to sink. So I'll go with the design team.
Okay.
Modupe.
Okay, good evening. My name is Medupe. I would also go with the design. I believe like that's an aspect of proactiveness that should have been done from the engineer's end, that like to avoid something of something for like an unforeseen circumstance. They should have put more effort in the steel plates and
Okay. So thank you
Happiness.
for that.
they would not have to go.
Happiness. Okay. Blessing. Ogbeche.
My name is Upeche Sunday. I will go with the
Okay.
design team. Yeah, the design team. If if in designs there's something we call like factor of safety. Even if you get if the rivet is even if you design and the rivet is the strength of the rivet is achieved, you still have to increase the strength more in case there's an unforeseen circumstance or there's you have to make you have to is it that to solve for the risk, unforeseen risk. You have to take it into consideration so that if as uh, the the boat hits the iceberg, the impact, no matter the impact, there would have been a safety factor that will not make it for the water to penetrate immediately, that the ship might have gone, maybe go far to take the people to safety, or can still withhold some water. Withhold, um, prevent the water from entering for people to come and rescue them early, so that a lot of life won't have been lost. Thank you.
Thank you for your contribution. Two more people, David, and we can proceed.
Okay, so we have Tina and Dia.
Okay, Tina, you can go first.
Okay, Dia.
Good evening, I'm Tina.
Okay,
Okay.
Tina, how are you?
I'm fine. I'll go with the management team. I'll say if the ship was not on high speed, even if the lookout didn't identify the iceberg on time, they would definitely have surpassed that. But because it was on high speed, they could not control the engine, and that was why this ship sank.
Okay.
Okay, good
All
evening,
right.
everyone. Can you hear
Evening.
me?
This is the last person then.
Yeah,
Okay.
I will
Yeah.
go with operations.
Why?
If okay, the reason being that for you to put a ship as gigantic as Titanic on the high sea, you must have done some safety checks and all of those. You will have taken adequate consideration of the design. And if you recall, there was a statement made that even God cannot sink that ship. In other words, dotted all their I's and crossed all their T's. Now, no matter how strong something is, no matter how efficient it is, when caution is thrown to the wind, the inevitable will happen. And that will happen if the lookout had identified the iceberg much earlier. No matter the speed, they were able to successfully navigate around the iceberg and they'll have gotten to their destination safely. That's my position.
All right. Thank you everyone for your contribution, and apologies for those that didn't get to share their opinion. So the thing is, this particular question, let me just be make your heart at rest. There's no right or wrong answer to it. The thing is, it's just trying to teach you that in some business problems you are going to solve, there's more aspects of it to look. You have to look from different angles, because the results of the Titanic shipment was later concluded to be from the whole of the three departments. That's to tell us that all the three 5 wire analysis are correct, and it's a combination of things that made the Titanic to sink. One is the lookout identify it late, it was coming on a speed, and the strength of the rivet. They can say even God cannot sink it, but it's possible they've never hit that kind of iceberg to taste it when they were testing it before advertising for people to go on a cruise on it. So it's a combination of the three of them. And one lesson I want you to learn from this is that you might be working on customer satisfaction analysis. Sometimes you might need to check with the product department. It could be the product quality, product things are affecting, or sometimes the brand itself, which is like the operations of your company, has to result with what is affecting the customers' purchasing power, the retention of customers, or things like that. So, as good as it is to stay specific to a particular problem, if you see the velocity of the problem is quite big, it's sometimes okay for you to look through other sections, department, or other things that are in relation to that aspect you are working with. It might be an influencing factor. This is just this same like what happened with the Titanic. I hope that makes sense.
Yes.
Thank you. So, do we still have those that have their hands up, David? This is another break that we have. I want like 5 people to volunteer. Since we are much, I'll give it 5. If not, I will just leave it 3 to volunteer and just share with us, why do you want to be a data analyst or a data scientist, or why do you want to be a business analyst? David, can you help us with calling the names?
Okay,
5 people.
okay, let me start from Marianne. Okay, Marianne Ahmed, you want to?
If you don't feel
Favor?
comfortable sharing, it's totally okay. Maybe you raised your hand mistakenly, you can take it down.
Favor? Chuku Elize. Esther? Robert?
Okay, Favor School say here. Can I speak?
Yeah,
Sure.
please.
Okay. Part of the reasons why I want to be a data analyst is there are various reasons why I want to be a data analyst, but one of the biggest motivation is because I I love data. I just want to be able to, you know, there's this fantasy I just like. I just want to, I look at things and I look at it from a data aspect, why this is happening, then what are the numerical advantages, what are the numerical results that can be done, to change this. And I just want to put in my own skills into it. That's just it.
Okay. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Next
Isaac?
person.
Isaac Christiana. Mr. Samuel Obeta.
Hello, good evening, everyone.
Evening.
I'm Samuel Obeta, and why I love data analysis is that number one, as a career, it is high paying, like it pays well. And again, I love data analysis. I like how to know the root cause of things, factors that affect the result of a particular product. I like getting involved in analysis. That is my passion for it. And again, it pays well. It is a high paying skill for me.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Hi,
Abdul
Saramatu. I don't know if I may ask, is it high paying skills?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so just to add my own, sorry that I wasn't called and I'm speaking. So I feel that I think with my little experience so far, I find other roles, something like operations, pretty boring. I find doing repetitive tasks very boring, and I believe that as a data analyst, you get to work on business problems, right? And then those problems are unique in their own ways. So you get to have new experiences almost all the time. So you are not working on the same thing day in day out, and I believe that that's going to be more interesting than having to do repetitive stuff every day. Thank you.
Thank you also.
All right. I think I was
My name is
before.
Robert Esther.
Oh, sorry, please, can we have an order?
Okay.
One person should
My
go
name
first.
is Robert Esther. Why I want to be a data analyst is that I'm a thinker. I love to think, and I like to break down things into bits.
Okay.
And data analysis is something that is very creative. It's open-minded. And when something is creative, it's also simple. So that's why I want to be a data analyst.
Okay. The other lady, she's the last person, please.
Yeah,
Um,
I think I'm
Hello.
the one. Because my name was
Okay.
called.
Okay.
So the reason I want to be a data analyst is because one, it can allow me work remotely. Two, it's a tech skills that doesn't require coding, because I've searched about it. As an analyst, you require coding. So it's a tech skills that doesn't require coding, and it is paying high, typing. And also, the reason I'm learning it is because I'm really into sales. I love sales, and there are some problems you encounter as a salesperson that can only require that you can only solve using data, that you can only solve using how do I put it, like using quantitative techniques. So that's why I really want to become a data analyst. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for sharing your amazing stories of why you want to become a data analyst. I hope you inspire somebody into his journey or to find a new perspective. Like somebody from what other people have shared, he just learned that data analyst is a high paying jobs. I think here in the UK, the minimum payment for data analyst is like £25,000 and up to as high as £38,000, something like that. So you can do the maths to Naira and you can see it's quite a good amount of money for somebody. And most data analysts work hybrid or remote. They don't do complete 5 days in the office. Hardly you see that. So I'm just
Sorry,
going to give you a short. Hello?
please wait. This £25,000, is it per month or per year?
No, per annum. Per annum.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm just going to give you uh a short answer to my own why did I become a data analyst, even though now I'm a data scientist, but I started as a data analyst as well. So the thing is, I don't have a degree in computer science or mathematics or statistics to become a data analyst. I came from pure biological sciences, but I migrated to tech specific kind of field like software development was the first thing I started after graduation. And from that, like Nigeria is, I kept getting data specific role instead of the software development that I was learning at that time. I took a work with data analytic job and I felt okay, it's something I can do with my understanding of things. And I have this scientific curiosity of always wanting to learn more, always wanting to fix things, solve things, and the like. So I took the job and I continue. But at some point, I was being challenged by having lots of complaints from my senior colleague anytime I had to send my data, monthly data reports and the like. And I am this person that if there's a height that something has you height in achieving something, I always want to achieve the best in it. So I challenge myself that I'm going to put a pause on what is my passion, which is to learn software development, and I'm going to learn this data once and for all so that nobody is going to rubbish me at work. So I went into learning it and I found it interesting, but I was still holding on to my software development. But I didn't make the decision to become a data analyst. So when we were struggling on some cases in Nigeria at my workplace, because I work with non-governmental organization, the UN Women. So I had to do the data analysis, create the dashboard, tell the data storytelling and all, which led to passing out a VAB bill in my state, Sokoto State. And when that VAB bill was passed out, it made me now come to realization that did I have excitement doing this project? How do I feel after the success of this project and all? And I realized with just a simple task that I was able to do, it helps in passing out an entire law which tends to protect the entire women and children in that community. And that gave me a purpose of wanting to continue in this journey. And I didn't just continue, I constantly keep trying to like get myself to the highest aspect of expertise in this field, which is why I'm having my master's in data science currently. So I hope this inspires you and motivates you to continue learning, because there's always new technologies coming out and things that you need to learn as well. So let's move on. So you can
Please,
see how
can I say something, please?
uh, we have quite a bit of time, but go on.
Okay, so sorry I joined a bit late because I was having troubles logging in to the meeting with my phone. But eventually, anyways, my laptop was down, but they eventually brought the light. So I just joined quite some few minutes ago, and I quite know that I've missed a lot of things, said
Yeah,
and all. I don't know if this class is recorded. I would have loved to have
yeah, I
watched
think
it all
it's
over.
recorded.
Okay, so just so I know,
Mm.
then again, okay, that would be all. Let me not share the reason why I want to be a data analyst because that time has passed already. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry for that. You can drop it in your Discord server or in the chat. Maybe somebody would want to go through it. Okay, so for now, so far, you can all see how business understanding is very huge, because we've spent the 1 hour discussing about business understanding. The reason why is once you didn't understand the problem right, forget it. You're going to get everything wrong. And this brings us to the third aspect of the business understanding, which is issue tree. It's a very popular tool for like breaking down problems and finding solution to them, but mostly widely used by consultants to like create manageable, small manageable problems and all. So just like you can see from this small placements of video, you can see how a tree is. You have a chunk of it and you have different branches. So that's how you categorize your problem. You have the bigger problem as the chunk, and you have simple problems that you break down from the big one into the small manageable one that you can find the solution to. So let's see how it's designed. So these are some of
Sorry,
the
I can't see
things.
your screen.
Can somebody confirm if you can see my screen?
Please, I can see your screen. I think the issue is from the participant.
Okay, she needs to refresh her meeting or log out and log in again. So these are some of the big companies that uses the issue tree, and some people calls the issue tree the McKinsey approach as well. So this is how the issue tree looks like. You have area one, which is the area of analysis or the problem. Then you have suspected problem from the bigger problem. It could be one and two. Then each one of them will have possible reasons and analysis to be performed. This can be answers, this can be solutions. So the thing is, for every single branch, the answer to that question should lead to the answer of the arrow it's connecting to going backward. and combination of the two should be able to provide an answer to this, and combination of these two should be able to provide a whole answer to the bigger problem. So let's see some of the techniques that help to guide this our issue tree. Just like we've seen in the problem statement, we need to follow the SMART rule. So in making your issue tree, you also need to follow the Michi approach, which is called mutually exclusive and collectively exhaustive. The reason why we said that, when we say mutually exclusive, it means that there's no overlap among the different smaller components that you are listing out. So there shouldn't be any overlap between this one and two, between this one and two that you've mentioned. And when we say something is collectively exhaustive, that we mean there's no, all potential root cause of the problem have been addressed. So an example is when you're trying to fix a problem of profit and you do revenue minus cost. There's nothing that joins revenue and cost. So there's two distinctive things that you are handling. There's no overlap, and all potential root cause has been addressed that has to do with profits. So let's see an example of how the Michi approach looks like. So it's just like you have a squared shape and you're asked to pick out the problem from it. If you pick it in a circular form, you're going to leave some area of spaces. And if you think of like putting three things to pick it at once, it's going to be an overlap. But if you divide the problem into four quadrants like this, there won't be any gap or overlap in it. And that's the approach we want you to have, or a mindset. Approach your question in such a way that you cross all your T's, you dot all your I's, and there's no overlap, or there's nothing that has been overlooked or left out. So this is an example of an issue tree that I've created. So I want to buy a MacBook, Apple laptop within 6 months, without borrowing money. So how do I do that? Because it's a big challenge for me. I might be in the UK, but it's also expensive here. So the first thing I did was I created two area of analysis, which is increase income and reduce expense. How do I increase my income? One is to get money from others. How do I get money from others? It could come from monthly allowance, either from my parents or from others, and I could get gifts either from family and friends, relatives, or admirers. And when it comes to self-generated income, how do I ensure I generate more income for myself within these 6 months? So I decide to think about the job income. In what way? By increasing working hours. Let's say I work as a data engineer for 5 hours per week. I can decide to negotiate to work for 10 hours per week. And I can increase my per hour rate. I might be charging £15 per hour. I can move it to £20 per hour. As far as I know, I can deal with that task. And we have the sell assets. It's probably I have some asset that I've owned, maybe a gold or something like that. I can choose to sell it, or family asset that I belong or inherit. And I thought of increasing other income. It's others can come. Maybe I have some cryptos that I want to trade in. I want to invest in something, and after 6 months, I will yield out the profits to buy. And I can choose to play lottery or play Bet Niger, which is common in Nigeria. So when it comes to, this is my plan and this is all the solutions that I have. So if you look at each one of these solutions trying to address the major one they are linking to, and each one of these, if you combine them, they'll address this self-generated income. Same with this, they are addressing the monthly income. These are addressing the gifts. These are addressing the money from others. And combination of these two will address this. How do I increase income? So when we come to reduce expense, we have extracurriculum activities. What do I do as extracurriculum activities? I do, thank God it's Friday, sometimes hang out with friends, go to the cinemas, and maybe do some other fun things because it's tiring going to work and school. And I have Netflix and chill. So instead of subscribing for the bigger package alone, so I can decide to go for the standard, which is going to be less expensive than that of the big one. And any other thing, yeah, I love to shop a lot. So maybe I can uninstall some of my shopping apps to like just calm down and save more money. And I have home expenses that I pay. It's like I pay rent, I pay DSTV, and I can choose not to pay any TV subscriptions because I can watch Netflix from my laptop, from my phone, and any other device. Food stocks, I might maybe prorate it to shopping twice in a month so that doesn't have to spoil and I end up wasting my money on them. And any other thing you can think of that will make me spend more money, it could be investing in buying hard copy book, but I'm not reading them. So maybe I stick to the soft copy books, or I'm buying so many things I don't need. Maybe I should also like sell them out or find a way to get them out, things like that. So you can see how each one of these sections, the three are helping to fix the home expense. These three are also helping to solve the extra curriculum, and the combination of these two are helping to solve the reducing expense. So if I should combine these two plans and stick to it, there's nothing that is going to stop me from getting what I want. I hope this is quite understandable for us and relatable as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
Please
so
again.
yeah,
Can you
what was the
go
question?
over it one more time, please?
Which aspect, please?
I don't know what they rank in here. I didn't really get it. It's kind of
Okay, let me use the reduce expense. It's quite little. The thing is, we have a problem, bigger problem, so we broke it down into two. And then each part of it, we are taking it into one. You can have it three here, depending on how you are thinking of it. Like now, I'm working on a project that has to solve risk and opportunities of sharing children data. So I might have the question here, the risks and opportunities of sharing children data, and I would break it down into this should be section for risk, this should be section for opportunities. So I will highlight all the risk. I will highlight how do I manage those risks? What is the score of those risks? And for the opportunities, how much is it going to cost the company for those to leverage those opportunities, this and that. So that's similar way with this as well. So every single branch should be able to answer the branch behind it, the one before them that they are linking to. So these three, Thank God It's Friday, Netflix and Chill and others, they should solve extracurriculum activities. And if you combine extracurriculum activities and home expense, they should fix the problem of reducing expenses. I hope this helps.
yes, ma'am. Thank you
Okay,
so much. Yes, ma'am.
you're
Yes, ma.
welcome.
Thank you so much.
Hello?
Oh, thank you all. So I have a challenge for you again
Hello?
because hello, the person
Hello?
saying hello. What's the challenge?
Okay. Good evening, everyone, and good evening, ma'am.
Evening. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the diagram here, and that part that I'm seeing play Niger X, because I'm looking at it as a way of also not just increasing income, but it's also taking money from you. So I don't know how you look at that part.
No, it's just an idea. It's specific to me. If I know I'm good with lotteries, there are people that whenever they play bet, they'll always get it. So I don't play bets because my faith doesn't even support that as well. I just put it as an option since I'm going to present. Probably if in real life scenario it's specific to me, Sarah, it would definitely have to be, maybe I will be saving money in fixed deposits and make some extra income from that. It could be any other thing specific to you or specific to the project that you are working on. That was why I gave you example of what I'm currently working on, risks and opportunity in sharing child data sets with health professionals and stakeholders. I have risk, I have opportunities. Under risks, I have data breach, data security, things like that. And under opportunities, I have promote collaboration. I have real time communication, things like that. So it's specific to the project you are working on. Don't worry about the bet, Niger. It doesn't mean anything. I hope that helps.
Thank you very much.
That answers the question.
One more thing, please.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hello.
sure. Yeah.
Can you please show the McKinsey mature approach? I'm trying to get the acronym for the MIT. Is it MIT or I don't know how to pronounce it?
Yeah.
The
Mutually
exclusive,
exclusive, collectively
collectively.
exhaustive.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So let's continue. So I have a big challenge for all of you. Even if you didn't get to say present it here, I would encourage you discuss it among your peers in the WhatsApp platform or Discord server that you have. So you are brought in as you are a data analyst in a particular company in a fashion industry that is based in Lagos. Let's say this is 2020 during the COVID-19. So your company is willing to expand their business operations. They want to expand the company's product line to increase revenue. So that's the first thing they want. They told you the second is they are considering entering the market for designer face masks. And they have hired you to help them determine if they should enter the market for face masks or in Lagos or not. So I'm going to give you some time to think, like 40 seconds. You're all brave minds and talented people. 40 seconds, just think as a data analyst, based on all these approaches that we have learned, which one are you going to apply and how would you apply it to solve these three questions of they want to increase their revenue by introducing a new product line. What would you advise them if they are considering entering a new market, and which is for designer face masks? And how would you advise them if they should enter the market or not? So think. David, are you around? Because I will need some coordination with calling the names when the hands are up.
Yeah, Felix, Favor, Joy, Daniel. Your hands
Okay.
up.
Okay, you can. The first person can go first. I'm still going to take just 5 due to time constraint. Thank you.
Favor, Felix. Isaac, Christiana.
So,
Joy,
Yeah, I can
Daniel.
hear you.
I have a question, though might not be related to the last slide. At
You
the
said
initial stage, I have a question.
I'm challenging to hear what you are saying.
Hello, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Yeah, but your
Hello.
voice is withdrawing and coming back.
Yes, so, let me get on with it. Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you.
At the initial stage of know if I understood. So can you please elaborate on how do we mine data?
Okay. Hello.
You have Daniel, Joy, Isaac, Favor,
The
Felix.
person speaking, I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Maybe you can just post it in the chat.
Good evening, ma'am.
Evening. Hello. Go on. Okay, I am going to move. If we don't have anybody that wants to share, I'm just going to take it from now. All right. So, based on what we've discussed, if I were to approach this particular question, I would design an issue tree for it, which if you like, think of this question to just break it down into a single word or two words of the problem they are trying to solve for each. I kind of represent them here, which is the main focus is face mask market. Then I broke it down into market size, competition, risks from entering. And I now take it down like market size will have to determine based on the units sold, the size per unit, and the competition. We need to look at how many competitors the product offering, and when they are asking for risks of entering, I have to check what is the how how this issue of no selling is going to be, and what are the high costs of production. So this is like a rough design because this question is quite big. So I will still take it one after the other, each one of these. So for profitability angle, I know profitability is going to identify like what is going to cause companies increments in revenue or decline, things like that. So I need to understand that in order to guide them whether to go into the market or not. So the first thing I did in the area of analysis is what is causing the decline in profitability, because I need to understand have they have any records of decline in revenue and they are still pushing to go into a new product. You know, you need to also understand the business before you can make any projections or recommendations. So I checked, has there been a decline revenue? Has there been an increase in cost of things that they are manufacturing? I also checked, is the decline due to changes among customers? So I ask, have customers need change? Have customer purchasing habits change? Do customers view our company differently? Because I believe these are some of the things that affect decline in revenue from the customer angle. I also check, is the decline due to changes among competitors? Like, have new competitors entered the market? Have existing competitors made any recent strategic move? Maybe they go into a partnership with the government hospitals. You understand how big leverage is going to be for them against their other competitors. Just imagine you're asked to supply all the public hospitals in Lagos face masks, and this other person is just selling to general public. So I checked, is the decline due to market trends? Like, are there new technologies impacting the market? Like, some of the technologies that were impacting the market during COVID-19 was the introduction of face shield, and also there's face shield and disposable reusable face masks is also a new technology that came in. And are there new regulations impacting the market? At some point, I knew the Nigerian government stopped people from importing face masks to rebrand and sell. So it's also impacted the market. Then I need to perform analysis on the market entry. How do I determine whether a company should enter a new market or not? One, I need to understand, is that market attractive enough? How would I know if it is attractive? These are some of the questions I ask. What is the market size? What is the market growth rate? What are average profit margins? That's why I think some people will be thinking, oh, this one's are you're not dealing with data. Well, that's why some companies will advertise the role of a data analyst or business analyst as research and data analyst, because oftentimes you need to perform some research, Google it, go to companies' websites, read things, check their metadata, and understand some things before you can come to look into your own company's problem. So we have our competitors strong. How many competitors are there? How much how much share do they have? Do competitors have any competitive advantages? Just like the previous example I gave you, maybe they have a connections of supplying to many hospital or governments. So they will definitely be selling faster than you are. So do the company have the capability to enter? You also need to be honest with yourself. Do you think the company can enter? Check, are there any significant capability gaps? Are there significant synergies to leverage on? It's possible maybe your company have a very high number of customers in Lagos, and they are very popular for the brand and the quality they offer to people. So you can leverage on those kind of things to market anything it will sell, because it already have the people's hearts in it. So I can also check, will the company be profitable from entering the market? Like, what are the expected revenues and what are the expected costs, and how long will it take to break even? If I know what is the expected revenue, you can calculate it. I think Excel helps you to do all the statistical analysis. So let's say we are okay with how profitable the company will be, we are okay with it entering the market. So how about pricing? Because that's what will also determine our revenue. So one, I need to check, how should we price based on the costs? Like, how much does it cost to produce this product? What is the product margin that the company is trying to achieve? I will also check, how should we price based on competitors' products? How much do competitors price their product for? And how does our product compare to competitors' product? It's possible your product have more values than the other one. So if maybe you are the first person that innovate or bring the idea of reusable face masks, it's going to save so many people from buying face masks every blessed day or buying more than one. So that's a synergy for you to leverage on, so you can market that to your customers. You can also check, how should we price based on customer value? Like, what benefit does this product provide to customers? You need to analyze that. You need to check, how much value does this provide to customers? So these are questions that when you're able to answer them, it's going to give you an understanding of some decisions you are going to make. And some of the questions you have to conduct research. Some you'll come across data to validate those research you've done. So it's not just going to be that you are talking from off point, but you also have evidence based on what you are speaking, because that's the uniqueness about you being a data analyst. You don't just speak, you speak with evidence based, because nobody is going to deny what you are recommending because you have evidence attached to that. I hope we are good.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we are.
So now that we've seen various examples of issue tree, and we've seen one of the techniques that guide us into
Yes,
writing a
thank you very much.
issue, I want to also introduce us to another approach that will guide us into doing some of the sub section of our issue tree, like all these ones at the bottom. It might be a bit contradicting with the Michi approach, but it's applicable to some of the steps, but not all the steps. And this technique is called the 80-20 rule. So what it does is that the rule believes that roughly 80% of the effect of something comes from the 20% of its cost. So that's why we can see from the image here, we can see 20% bad effects can cause 20% bad influence can cause 80% effects of it. So let's see some further examples that relate to business. Maybe we get it better. So we have 80% of a company's profit come from 20% of its customers. 80% of a company's complaints come from 20% of its customers. 80% of a company's profit comes from 20% of the time its staff spends. 80% of a company's sales come from 20% of its products. So do we agree with this statement, or do we have contradicting opinion about them? Okay, so I'm going to give us a real life scenario on applying the 80-20 rule. So here is Bean. He's the owner of a small business that has gained popularity over the past years. So to optimize his restaurant hours, Bean uses the 80-20 rule to discover that 15% of the restaurant hours yield 85% of revenue. This 15% indicates that his peak hours are between 7 and 9 p.m. So what this is trying to tell us is that he opens his restaurant from morning and closes by 9 p.m. But he realized he make 85% of all the sales between 7 p.m. to 9 p.m., which is just 15% of the hours he spends in the shop. So that's how he come to the conclusion that
Okay.
the little hours, the 2 hours between 7 and 9, that's 2 hours. The last 2 hours of his business opening are the ones generating 85% of it. So
Of
because
his
of that,
income.
yes, so because of that, he's now deciding to extend 1 hour at night to start closing by 10 to potentially increase revenue during peak hours. You get it?
Yes.
So you can see how little percentage of something can make a bigger impact of it instead of the other way around, bigger thing to make a little impact. So we have Abby as well. She's a hairstylist looking to expand her clients. So she uses the 80-20 rules to discover that 80% of her new clients were referred from 20% of her existing clients. How did she do that? So Abby utilizes the word of mouth advertising strategy and offers discount to clients who refer people to book appointments with her. This plan can help her increase revenue, improve relationship with clients, and focus time on learning new skills instead of like marketing. So it's she just started and she had little customers, and she now gave them this promotion that, oh, you get to make your hair for free every month if you refer so amount of customers. And it turns up that she generated 80% of the new customers from just the 20% that she had already. So you can see how little percentage of something, you if you use it strategically, it's going to bring a bigger impact for you. I hope that's clear.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So we have the last part of
So we
business
have
understanding, which is the prioritization metrics. What it does is that we know being a data analyst is not an easy thing. Please kindly mute your mic. It's not an easy thing. You might have lots of projects you are working at the same time, or you have single project, but you need to learn some tools to help you in solving that particular project. So that's why we have prioritization metrics as part of our business understanding, because your power of being able to stay organized, manage your time, will determine how fast you can also finish a project. So this is like a simple design on how you can create a prioritization matrix and to help and organize your project, task and all. So we have the do now and crucial. So by the left hand we have crucial and at the top we have do now. So anything that you places here, it's with immediate effect. You have to do it. It's possibly maybe you have to supply that update for the meeting in the afternoon or checkout meeting at work. And you have the crucial do later. Okay, it might be you have a project review, but it's only every half of the month or every 2 weeks you do it. So it's crucial, and maybe it's beginning of the month, so you still have like 14 more days to go. We have the not crucial but do now. Think of things like collaboration with colleagues. The work might not be directed to you, but it's for your colleague and he requires your assistance. And oh, if you are able to assist this particular person, he would help you in your next project or things like that. So there's no harm in prioritizing to do that as well. And you have the not crucial or do later. It could be that your work does not engage, maybe you do programming, like start learning Python for data analysis or that, but you are planning to like upskill yourself and do that. So there's no pressure on that. You can take as much as you want. You can even take like 20 minutes per day to just studying it, because you are not in a hurry to finish or get the badge for it that time. So this is everything about the business understanding. Just quickly reflect in 30 seconds. Like, do you have any question based on all we've discussed in these five stages of business understanding? And if you do, I can explain before we go to the next stage of the CRIMS DM, which is the data understanding.
Esther Robert, is that a hand for a question?
Hello? Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I just want to ask the difference between a data scientist and a data analyst.
Okay, so their differences specific to their task. A data analyst is one that mostly does the exploratory analysis and focuses on like presenting reports or and working on short projects, while data scientists, you find them doing the creation of machine learning models. They are more of technical roles than data analytics are. That's why you can see a lot of people will tell you, if you have skills in Excel, Power BI, or Tableau, and you understand SQL, you are qualified for a data analytics role. But nobody is going to hire you for a data analytics role, a data scientist role, if you don't have Python or R skills, because that's what you are going to use. They test the probability of projects for success of projects before they assign those projects for you to work. And most companies, you find data scientists to be the senior or lead of the team, then the data analytics will take the smaller projects in the department. I hope that helps. There's so many comparison online. I might not be able to do justice in explaining the two, but they are very related. Just that this one go extra mile into building data models for predictive analysis, which even data analysts and analytics does prediction, but it's minor compared to what the scientist does. I hope that helps.
Yes, thank you, ma.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Sorry, ma. I have a question. Why is it that in
Okay.
Nigeria I see so many roles of data analyst and they require Python? I don't know if the HR department or the person who wrote the job specification or description does not understand what data analyst and data scientist does, because they will be
Eh,
like data analyst and they will put Python.
Okay, the thing is, some HR don't have an understanding of what the rule requires. They just put some crazy requirements out there. So what I would just advise you is whatever you see, if you know you can comfortably do 65% of the job description, apply. And you can always give them a reason that, oh, you analyze yourself critically and you are confident you can do the 65% of it. And as somebody with positive inspiration to learn more, you are comfortable that you will be able to learn the Python on the job, because some things you can learn it on the job. I've gotten a job that it was advertised for data analyst, and I received a job offer that contains job description of a data scientist. And when I requested what's the first thing I will do the first day I resume, I was given a task of data engineer. And I was upset because I was like, are you whining me? Like, I felt there were so many red flags with the job because they were not honest with me. Why would you be changing roles very fast? You understand? And that was why I just like think of it. Do I really want to do it? Do I want to start doing data engineering aspects, this and that? And I made the decision that suits me best. So always put yourself first. Don't allow employer to drain you. I hope this helps. Any other question? One last
Yes, it
more.
does. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, so we're moving on to data understanding. This is a particular phase that is built on top of the business understanding phase, where it's going to hone your focus and skills in how you can identify, collect, and analyze a data set. I know a lot of us are comfortable with this phase, and we have some of the key four tasks that you do. One, which is the collection of initial data. So you need to acquire the necessary data and load them into your analysis tool as a data analyst. So here it could be they don't have any data. You are the first person to set the line for collection of data. So you need to do that and choose the right tool for the kind of data they are going to use. Secondly, you need to describe that data, like to examine and document its surface properties, like what is the data format, what is the number of records, what is the fields of the data. So it could be you're mentioning, let's say you are being offered a data set, you don't have to collect it from scratch. You can analyze and document things that you note from that data. How many rows of records do you have? How many columns of record do you have? If it's something that has to do with monetary things, you can check what's the lowest lowest product or sales, or what's the highest sales, maximum revenue and minimum revenue, what's the geographical revenue that you have. You break down different insights about the data to explain it. It's always good to document because it's possible you will have a colleague to work with, and some days you are not around, he would need to start calling you to ask you things. But if you document everything, you just share the file with the person and you've saved yourself for further question. We have the explore data, where you dig deeper into the data, you query it, visualize it, identify relationship among the data. So this is typically where you tend to understand the data, because the more you you are exploring the data, checking different insight row by row, column by column rather, you understand it better. And checking the relationship would also help you to build the basis of data modeling. So we have verified data quality, where you have to check how clean or dirty is the data, and you document any quality issues or things that you've noted from that data as well. So these are the things that you do. And the reason why we say you have to go back to business understanding, there might be some data records that you find out and you see they are not relevant to the business aim and objective, or the project aim and objective you are working on. So you have to cross check before you take out that data, because some of the qualities of being a data person is you are not meant to be losing data. You need to maintain the integrity and volume of your data as much as possible. So if you are deleting a data, you have to justify why are you taking this data and reasons for doing that as well. So under data understanding, we have data gathering, where you have to like systemically find a way to gather observations or measurements, whether you are performing a research for business, you are working as a data consultant, or you are like doing an academic research. You just have to understand how do you collect your data to allow you to have your first-hand knowledge and original insight in it. So before you begin collecting any data, you need to consider what are the aim of the project, what is the type of the data that you need to collect, and what is the method and procedures you will use to collect, store, and process data. Because this decision, you have to make it right in the office before you engage in any field data collection or sending out those surveys form to collect people's input and all. So for the aim of the research, we have, you need to understand, is the research something that has to do with plotting of graphs or statistical decision. That way you will know it's a quantitative data you are collecting. So you will have to organize your questionnaires or surveys to be ones that collect an input of numbers. On something, maybe you are doing interpretation or trying to work on categorical data, which is text based. So you have to understand if the aim of the research is to collect information that are qualitative in nature. So these are some of the types of data that you can collect with the experimental research, which is primarily a quantitative method and quantitative data. We have interview and focus group. You know, most of the responses are yes or no, or people like telling you their own response. So it's definitely qualitative method. We have ones that are mix of both quantitative and qualitative, which are like surveys, your secondary data collection, your observation, and all. So we have the method for storing your data and processing it. So for instance, if you are conducting surveys or interview, decide what from the questions you will take if you are conducting an experiment. Like you need to decide about, is the response you are targeting to collect, what's the volume. I like to think about volume because of usability and also scaling up. If I know it's something that is continuously that data is going to keep on coming on, I won't even look at Excel. I'll just head down to creating an SQL database. It's more appropriate for me to store and process that data over there. But if I know it's just a short survey that I need to analyze and present to make some decisions immediately, maybe in a week or 2 weeks, you can go for Google Forms and collect it in Excel. So things like that, depending on what you require to do, you get to make the decisions of the tools you use. Are we good?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, yes, we
Okay.
are.
So
Yes,
we
we
have
are.
thank you. So we have the data preparation, which is like the 80% of the project in data preparation, because this is where you do the lengthiest task, which is data cleaning. So let's see some of the tasks you are expected to do. One, you need to select the data. And when we talk about selecting the data, you might have the data, but you also need to select which of those data to use, because oftentimes you'll find businesses with so many kinds of data. And for some companies, they can be enterprise, they can be big organizations, so they have structure in how the data is. The data for HR belongs to HR, the data for finance belongs to finance. But some people, it's startups, so it's still one single database they are using. So you need to justify why you are selecting this particular data to work on, and what is the project you are trying to work on that you need that data to answer your questions. Because you might be data analyst, but access to data can also be restricted even among staff due to the general data protection laws globally. So we have the cleaning of data, which is often the lengthiest task. Sometimes it depends on the length you take in cleaning the data will depend on how that data is being collected. From past experience, I will tell you that the most difficult data to clean is data from the public sector, because uh, you don't get to have the opportunity to design how that data should be collected. And people that design, most of the time, you see all these population council, you see all these tax income offices, government tax income offices, ministries, how they collect their data is on mobile applications. And the people that design those mobile applications, they are software developers or data analysts, data scientists. So they are just going to give them input fields that people will input whatever they like. Please kindly mute your mic.
They fit what things.
Hello.
No, I say no.
Hello, we're still in the class. Can you mute? Okay. Thank you for that. So, based on experience, I had to work with a tax payers data or something like that. And the person that designed the data forms, he allowed people to type in even yes and no answers instead of giving it as a drop down. And mind you, I came to meet people spelling yes 5 different times, people spelling no 5 different times. There's yes in capital letter, yes in small letters, there's yes small and caps, yes in form of slangs like yeah or yay. Things it was so difficult. It took a very long time to finish like cleaning all
Cleaning.
those mess. I know if you have used Power BI, Power Query, you have to fix all the spelling mistake before you can start any visualization or modeling. So that will take you a lot of time. So if anybody have the privilege to design how a data is collected, minimize as much as possible how you allow people to type in their responses. I would advise you give them drop down options or radio buttons. And if you must give them their freedom to speak what they want, give it as orders. If it is orders, let them specify. We have the construction of data where you drive in new attributes. Attributes are new columns from a data. So it's possible you are dealing with health data sets, you have the weight, you have the height of a particular people, and you need to calculate their body mass index, which is weight divided by height square. So you can write a formula in Excel and it will create all the values in the next column for you. That way you've generated a new column from the two existing columns that you have. And it could be running count if analysis or VLOOKUPs to create new columns. That way is all the aspects of constructing data. We have the integration of data, where you create an entire new data set by combining data from multiple sources. Let's say you have reports, monthly reports data from an office. You have January to December. So you can append all those data, stake it one on top of the other, and make it into a single data set for you to find ease in working with that data instead of creating dashboard for each one of the months. It's not something doable. So you have to like append all of them, make them a single data, and through that you've now integrated a data. And because we are constructing new data, we are integrating it, we are cleaning as well, there's always a need for us to format and reformat as much as possible. Because anytime you append a data, there's likelihood that some of the rows that you've appended to the new one, they are wrongfully formatted. So try as much as possible to always reformat till when you're done with your data cleaning and preparation aspects of your work. And mind you, it's always good to document things that you do. People that uses Power BI have the privilege that Power Query tends to record all the applied steps they've done. So even that, they can document those applied steps as some of the things that they've done without having to write them from scratch. So if not, you need to record it so that it will be easy for anybody collaborating with you to know what you've done so far. I hope this is clear.
Yes, it
Yes.
is.
Yes, it is.
Okay. So we now move to the modeling part, which is like one of the widely regarded data scientist job. And also it's now becoming a common work as well for data analysts. So these are some of the tasks that you perform in data modeling. Because I said it's widely used in data science, I will try some of the examples I made is for data science, but I'll break it down into data analytics, how you get to do those things in Excel and Power BI as well. So in if you are working as a data analyst, you need to select a model technique. I think for working as a data analyst, you don't need to pick a model. It's mostly a single model you are working, which is the model that will filter out the information that you need. But in data science, they have to pick, is the model calculating regression analysis? Is it a natural language processing? All these AIs that you are seeing that you speak to them and they tell you answer as text, they are all models that are doing that. And the facial recognition and fingerprints, they are all data scientist models that, because they are collecting data once anytime you scan your finger, a data of all the match of the corners and lines of your finger are being collected as data and stored. So data scientists, those are the kind of jobs they handle. It's quite a bit advanced though. So when you're working with selecting model technique, which I will use Power BI because, oh, like David told you, I really love the Power BI. So the thing is, in Power BI, it's very easy to build a model. Anytime you are done cleaning your data from the Power Query and you do the pulls and apply, Power BI automatically builds a model for you. And you just need to verify if that model answers your question. And we would see how you get to assess if the model answers your question. So we generate a test design. The test design is mostly like you try to create a visualization between the two tables you connected in your model to see is it answering or giving you the desired output? Sometimes in Power BI, if you connect two tables and you visualize it, you will notice that all the columns have equal number of values. Let's say you are trying to check sales by region, and you notice that the north, the south, the east, they all have 5,555,000. That's automatically telling you that model is incorrect, because no all of them cannot have the same number. So, and you see the height, or the, if it is a heat map, you see the uh, density of the color of the visual will be equal in everything. So that way you need to check your relationship lines, check which primary key and foreign key you are connecting to, and fix that approach. Then we have the building of the model, which is for data science, they write it in code. It could be just these few lines of code. But in data analytics, most of the applications build a model for you. In Tableau, the models, you just perform some join statements, which is also done with drag and drop, or writing just the name of the columns, very easy. In Power BI, it automatically build the model, or you just fix one or two relationship lines. Because model is a very critical thing, because that's what will tell you the answers between related tables and related table. You need to constantly assess it and know this model answers the project aim and objectives. Is it giving me the required value that I want? Model can get crazy at time, even in Power BI, that you might have to go into building bridge table, like a connecting table to connect other two unrelated tables together. I don't know easy way to explain model to you in this small setup, but I trust the person who teaches you Power BI is very good. So you just apply that concept into how you are going to verify your model. Are you going to test it by a visual? Are you going to test it with a table? But one thing I want you to carry with you tonight is that the whole ambiguous word modeling is nothing than filtering out information. That's just a simple English term that will always keep you in check with model. What model means? Filter out information. So if your model is not out filtering out the information you want, then you need to reassess it and check over it. I hope this is clear.
Yes, my it is.
No, it's not
Okay.
clear.
Okay, which part is not clear?
I think this is modeling, because this this is modeling, because I'm trying to still understand everything you just
Okay.
said. It's not too big, too big.
Okay, wait. Do you have an understanding of a model before this class?
No.
Okay, that's where the first problem is. So, model is tables. Look at it as data table. What makes it a model is you are connecting two data tables together without joining the information into a single table, but by creating a line. It's going to be like a pathway for data to flow from one table to the other. It's done behind the scenes, but you you create a connection between the two tables, and when you visualize it, that's when you will know if the connection is right, because it will show you the answers. It's just like you have a sales table that have total sales, quantity of sales, sales location, region of sales, and the likes. And you have a product table that have the list of products, the color of product, the model of the product. So if you connect the product table and the sales table, and you want to check uh, the total sales of a particular car model in so region in Nigeria. So you know this is not information that is inside one table. So these two tables have to find a way to communicate with one another and answer this question for you. I hope this makes you understand how the whole modeling concept goes.
Yes, yes. Maybe I will read on it later.
All right, I would advise that as well. Hello. So we have
Please,
the evaluation.
sorry, please. Sorry to cut you short. I have
Okay.
I just want a clarification on
Okay.
this data modeling. You know,
Okay.
when using SQL, for example, there's something like joins.
Yeah.
So is this data modeling more like when you are joining, when using writing and query languages like SQL?
Yeah, it's very similar to joins in SQL because I told you the major aim of a model is to filter out information.
Okay.
And you know the join statement in SQL, it's helping to connect two tables together for you to give you the information from the two. So
Yeah.
I don't want to say it's same, but it's very similar approach. If you are if you have worked with Tableau modeling is similar to SQL joins because you see the two data as cycle forms and you connect their side by side by creating a SQL
Yes.
join. So something
Yeah.
like that. I hope this helps.
Okay.
Hello?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh,
Hello?
you're welcome. Yeah, I can hear you. You can proceed.
Please, I just want to ask questions. What is the best
Okay.
tools when designing any model? The tools that we are using. What's the best tool for designing a good model? Thank you.
Uh, the model you are building, how big is the data? Can you
Big
help me
data.
answer that? Big
Yes,
data.
like big data. Yes.
What is your model aim? Are you trying to create a dashboard or are you trying to create a model that will answer question?
Like a dashboard, normal dashboard.
Okay, so the thing is, I might like Power BI, but if you have data that are in millions in big data, I would recommend you go with Tableau. And if you have data that are below a million, Power BI is very good in handling that. And if you still want to use Power BI and handling very big data that is in millions, let the data come from a database, not from a local Excel document, because it's going to be slow in running the processes. Unless if you are going to start writing DAX formulas and maybe ignore using the columns and be using the DAX formulas, because DAX formulas are saved in the computer CPU, which makes them run very fast. But if you are querying between or visualizing tables, you understand, it's going to be taking long time to refresh unless if the data is having a connection direct from the database. I hope this helps.
Thank you. It really helps. Thank you. I really appreciate your response. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so we have the evaluations
Okay,
page.
please, excuse me, please.
Okay,
I have a question. Okay,
what's your
for the two
question?
tables you mentioned, yeah, when you said something about join and you mentioned two tables, must the two tables be related with foreign keys?
It's easier if they are related with foreign and primary key, but related or not related, you can still relate tables. Just that is a more longer route than if they have a primary key and foreign key. So as much as possible, try to have primary key and foreign keys in your data. I hope this helps.
Yes,
Yeah,
thank you.
yes.
Okay.
Hello.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to ask I say a question. It's not a question, but just a clarification.
Okay.
This data preparation is it one of the secrets of data analysis?
Yes. You
Hello.
can't escape
Is
this.
one of the
Yeah, you can't escape doing data preparation. Whichever role you worked as a data analyst or business analyst, even data scientists clean data because those advanced models they are building, if your data is not clean, your model will not be okay. It will not be accurate. So everybody goes through the process of cleaning and preparing data. Are we good?
Okay, yeah. Please,
Yeah.
what's the difference between data pre-processing and data cleaning?
It's same. It's same. So
Yeah, the
please let
difference between data pre-processing and data cleaning, because I've seen pre-processing somewhere before now.
so it depends on everything boils down the project you are working on. But if you think of the word pre before cleaning, what do you think you can do before cleaning? So based on what we've discussed here is mostly maybe you are trying to select the data, select the right tool to load the data, take the details of the exploratory analysis where you like take in maximum and minimum revenue, number of columns, number of rows. Those are the data pre-data stuff that you mentioned. But the data cleaning, you have to start like fixing incomplete data, fixing spelling issues, fixing spaces, and fixing any challenge that you might meet on the data. You can't predict what kind of challenge you have till you meet it. I hope that helps.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so
Thank you.
please let's proceed. We are a little behind the schedule time. So we are on the evaluation phase. What evaluation is trying to do is just to help you reflect on all that you've done. You know, even based on the presentation we are doing, we've come a long way. So it's a way of making you to reflect from the start to the current stage. What have you achieved? Is everything correct? Are you aligned with the business aim and objective? Is all the procedures you've done correct? So it's a retrospective way of thinking on the things you've done and assessing them as well. And that's why we have these three tasks. One is to evaluate the result. The result could be your dashboard that you've created. Check to see, does this dashboard addresses the questions I was given? Does it answers those questions? Then review the process that you've done. You can like check and see, did you overlook anything? Did that overlooking of thing affect any of the project parameters you have or KPIs representation? And check, were all the steps properly executed? Maybe you've wrote a DAX formula and it's not written well, so it's not answering the question the way you want it to be done, and you left it to come back to it later on. So this is the time you check it and ensure, is it still working, or you need to fix it all over again. So then, if everything is fine and there's nothing that needed any correction to be done, then you have to determine the next step. Like based on the previous three tasks that you've done, you determine whether to proceed to like submitting that dashboard, presenting it, or deploying it to the company's website. If you truly believe that everything is correct, these are the next step that you need to start thinking about. So for the deployment can come in different angle depending on the angle that you are working on. So if it's in a small project that you just did, probably you might present it to your departments or to the boardroom, and that's it. Or you are going to submit it to your senior colleague and he's going to present it on your behalf, or in your team's behalf, or something like that. And if it's something that they are publishing to the company's website, you also need to plan how to do that as well. So planning, you have to document. Planning is mostly for those that publish publicly, or they are going to be reusing that dashboard. So you need to plan, how are you going to be updating that dashboard. So that's where you think of monitoring and maintenance. First, you plan. Maybe you are going to be updating it every week, or you are going to be updating it after 2 days, or it's going to be after 12 hours. So you decide on what plan are you going to do. Then you need to monitor it and maintain how that dashboard is being created, because sometimes error can skip and it can break things. Sometimes you can go to a website or you can go to present something and you just see a visual has broken down. It's telling you that fix the report, or the data has error or something like that. So you need to plan a monitoring and maintenance. Time to time, check and see if everything working fine. If there's anything that broke, try to fix it. We have the producing of the final reports. Then you need to also document a summary about the project and include the final presentation of your data result as well. This could be submitting just a file of the presentation, so that it will be part of your department's documentation or things like that. Or you are publishing the report to your in-house department, since some offices I know they do what we call check-in check-out. So maybe that's what they make reference on whenever the staff are having their staff check-in meeting or staff checkout or progress stand up. So after then, we have the review of projects, where you conduct a project retrospect. It's always advised you get a second eye, maybe your friend or your colleague, to help you look at it or check and see, does he think anything need amendment or fixing, things like that. And when you feel everything is okay, then you can call it like a project completion. If it's something you need to continue checking, maybe you are going to continue updating the data, then you stick to this monitoring and maintenance aspect of the deployment. And I think that'll be the last slide. Yeah. So thank you everyone for listening and staying to the end of this session. Now I'll allow you to like kind of digest what we've went through the whole of this night. And if you have any question, feel free to bring them up. I'll stick around in the next 10 minutes like this to answer every challenge, clarification, or information you might need. And if your question wasn't answered, feel free to reach out on LinkedIn.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ma. I
You're
really
welcome.
appreciate the class. Although I'm an entry level data analyst, so most of the things you're talking is just sounding foreign, but I believe that the notes I've taken will help as I progress in getting more knowledge of data analysis. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
sure. So, do you have any question? Okay. Does anybody have any question?
Hello. Hello, good
Yeah.
evening.
Evening. How are
Thank you
you?
so much. Thank you. Thank you so much for have a question. My question is on not really based on what you said, but I want to know if there are advantages and disadvantages of between Google Spreadsheet and Microsoft Excel. Kindly tell us is there a particular time to use this one, or is are there other different ways?
Uh, I think like I can't really pinpoint on the spot what I could tell you the difference is because they are both spreadsheets. And for me personally, I prefer working with Excel because I feel all the all the things I need to check, you need to do my analysis with, they are more outlined than they are on Google spreadsheets. Some things that I know where they are in Excels, I need to start searching for them in Google spreadsheets, and that kind of slow down my time. And I get too bored when I spend too much time on a project. I hope this helps.
Yes, yes, thank
Hello?
you. Secondly, when
Mm-hmm.
you plot a graph, when you plot a graph, like in the first aspect or how to plot a graph, when you plot a graph, are there explanations? I was expecting something towards that in the graph. I don't know if
Uh,
this.
the graph just needs to have like a label for the y-axis and x-axis, and it should have a legend as well. If it has multiple parameters you're analyzing, it should have a legend.
Hello?
Evening.
Evening.
Thank
Hello, good evening.
Evening, I can hear you.
I want to ask if you've ever had a situation where you have to reject data that was presented to you at the point of cleaning, that you find the data unusable, and the reasons why you will totally condemn that kind of data. Thank you.
Sorry, can you come again?
Sorry, I said I want to know if you have found yourself in a situation where you had to condemn a data, like you can't use it, you may need to get back to those that presented the data and to tell them that that data is not usable for you, and what are the things that you look out for before you say, oh, that data is not usable or we can't even do it.
I think I would argue with that because there's no data that cannot be usable, just that it will take you longer time to make a sense out of it. You understand? Just things in that situation, if I take time to clean that data and like get what I want, do the whole analysis and all, what I will do is seek to, I would recommend to them more proper ways they should have collected that data and tell them the challenges that I encounter so that they'll understand how serious those challenges were. And you'll find a lot of people are open to do better if you will tell them, if you are open to them and tell them issues you've encountered, how long it took you, and share with them why these things need to be addressed. And you see, everybody would want to make a progress. I hope that helps.
Yes, it does. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Please, can
Anybody?
you yes, please, how exactly do you do data cleaning? Are there tools you use in doing the data cleaning? And can you like elaborate or if possible,
Okay.
give us some steps of how you actually do the cleaning? Thank you.
Okay. So I actually use Power Query to clean my data, the Power Query inside Power BI. I like to use it because it shows me percentage clean, unclean, like those percentages that it shows you in a colorful ways. I like that. And it's easy for me to have a descriptive details about my columns. I easily understand my data if I am to clean it in Power Query of Power BI because of the different features it has. I'm not really sure if I can explain. The thing is, once I load my data, the first thing I will do is to turn on my data profile and data quality to check what is the quality percentage qualities in each column. The ones that have the least percentage of quality, I will check their data profiling, where I'm going to find out what are the errors. That's where you find out if a column have different spelling mistake if you check the data profiling. And from there, I'll if there's spelling mistakes, I'll just start doing replacing values to the chosen spelling format that I've picked. I'll replace all the other ones to that same format. I'll check, do I have numbers in column that is text? I'll check so many different data errors. And after then, I will try to see, is this data complete in such a way that does it have all the columns that I need to make my analysis? If it doesn't, I'll think of how do I create other ones. Sometimes I will need to do if else statements in the Power Query to generate new categorical columns for my analysis. I'll do that. And I think from there, I'll call it done if everything is 100% accurate. I hope this helps.
Okay, yeah, thank you so
Hello.
much.
Hello.
Hello. In data cleaning, when the when the font, let's assume that there is a consistency in font, like most of the words are written in uppercase and some are written in lowercase. So cleaning, what do you do? Which font do you use?
You would have to pick the best. If I were you, if the capital letter O is the highest, then I'll convert the small letter O. You understand? The thing is, it's not
Yes.
but one by one that you are changing it. You are just changing it in the bulk. So irregardless of which one is many, I'll just take the one that is most pleasant. And if both of them they are not pleasant to me, I can change the two of them to the one that the first letter will be capital and the rest will be small letter. That's the best one I use. So I'll change both of them. It's a very simple thing. Replace values. It's going to automatically replace all the data at once. Not that you are doing it row by row, row by row. No, no. I hope
I
that
want to
answers
ask.
it. Okay.
I want to ask a question pertaining to a question someone asked before that
Okay.
if the data is not good, what do you do? From that person's perspective, like I am bringing how I understand it. Is that let's say people who go on the field and like bring up data to you, and then whilst working on the data, you realize the data is like they just formulated something. They didn't want to go on the field and
Mm.
do the actual work. They just that like then at the end of the day, you realize that no, you don't want to present a data that is faulty. What then do you do? Do you let them um, go back and like bring another? Maybe they'll be saying, "Oh, we went to the field and this is what we got," and you are like, "No, it can't be possible." Because I've been working with a lot of data sets and I realized that this is really faulty. What then happens? What do you do then?
Okay. I think the thing is before you go into that part, there's work ethics. You have to have an evidence that they didn't do it. So I like to be diplomatic in most times because it's going to save you a lot from putting yourself in a tight situation at work, because people will be like you are the cause that somebody lost his job, or you are like it will be like you are a snitch or whistleblower all the time. So strategically you can just like suggest to your team lead, or if you are the team lead, tell them fix a data quality check with all of them, and you can choose to send them back to the field, or you can and send a trusted person that you know to randomly going to check some of those people and recollect maybe random 5 people or so, and if it doesn't match, you have your evidence to blow it up. But I won't suggest you challenge anybody without having an evidence. That's why there's always quality data quality review for situations like this. And if there's still not convinced, then you can go for spot check, where you go randomly to those locations where the data is captured and recheck it either by yourself or together with them. But I would suggest you go together with them so that it won't be like you change it also when you went alone, so that to show their work is not okay. As much as possible, try to be very diplomatic in things like that. I hope this helps.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. Any person?
Yes,
Okay, what's your challenge?
please. What are the best functions or formulas to use when cleaning the data, especially Microsoft Excel? That's then the second question, when designing a dashboard. Some people are the you should design your dashboard in the PowerPoint, then you transfer it to the Excel. So I want to suggest a professional for me which one is the best. Can I design my dashboard 100% in Excel, or I can do all the necessary design, the color, the charts and what have you in the PowerPoint, then I transfer it to the Excel. Which one is the best amount? That's the two questions I want to answer. Thank you.
Okay, so the thing is, if I'm going to clean data in Excel, I mostly leverage on drop down and sorting of data to understand the data first. I like to use the drop down, pick a value, and check it across all the column if that value is okay. Randomly check, or if the parameters are not much, I'll check all of them. Let's say maybe I'm working on regional data. I will pick each region one after the other and check the data and see, is it complete? Is all the spellings correct? Then I'll move to the next one. Then I also do the count if. I use the count if functions a lot, and I use the if else. I use the VLOOKUP also, and I often use the sum. It costs to sum a lot. I use what again? Uh, it depends on what I'm working on actually. So most of the times the data I work with, they are text based. So I end up using count if at most of the time so that I can generate statistical numbers on them. I hope this helps. Then the second question is, depending on the dashboard you are building, there are some features of dashboard that you can find and you'll find it easier to do in PowerPoint than in Excel. Then I'll suggest you do it in Excel and bring the templates to Excel, or either way, anyhow you want to do it. But I can't really remember the time I built a dashboard in Excel. I mostly build with Power BI or Tableau. I hope this helps.
Okay. I think. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, David.
Yeah, Saratu, thank you very much. And I wouldn't want our students to stay longer than this. I mean, you have been so generous with all of us. If there is anyone that have a very pressing
Yeah,
question, the
it's
person
fine.
could reach out to you on LinkedIn, right? And kind of chat with you.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So there are two types of students we have here: those who are done with their Power BI and those who are just starting Microsoft
Oh,
Excel.
so
So
sorry. I thought they were all done with Power BI. That was why I was comfortable flowing through it.
yeah,
Don't worry, when
I
they start it, they'll understand a lot of things I've said.
exactly. So the recording would be made available to them, and hopefully by the
Okay.
time the ones that understand modeling and Excel and things like that, those are the ones that are actually done with their course in Power BI and Excel. And
Okay.
this is like one of the last sections that they are gonna have. And then we have
Mm.
those who are actually guests, not I mean they don't belong to the health tech since this was an open kind of
Yeah, it's
opportunity
totally
for
fine.
yeah to join. So that's why the questions sometimes could be basic and sometimes quite informed. I really admire your patience and taking
Yeah.
through all
Life is very simple.
taking through all the topics and questions and making sure they are as simplified as possible. And I'm so happy that we have a great number of students here. When we started, we had
Yeah.
think over 122, and now
Wow,
we
that's
still have
nice.
like 76 persons still live with us right now. So that shows that there's a lot of hunger for people who really want to learn and they really want to
Yeah,
connect.
I'm always excited to see people learning data analytics. Like, I feel even managers and leaders make it people that understands data make the best leaders in every work setup you go. So you don't have to be a data analyst, you might be a project manager, but if you have understanding of data to this point, you'll make a better decisions in your project management as well, or maybe you're business strategist or whatever position you go. I feel skill is becoming a life skill. At some
Mm,
point, I'm projecting that maybe we are going to get a point that whatever field you are doing, you must learn data analytics. So people that learn it now, they stand a better chance than people that will realize it at the later time, because
mm-hmm,
everything revolves around data.
mm-hmm. That's true. That's true.
Like here that I am in the UK, Scotland specifically, they don't care whatever course you are learning, either art, social science, or science, you must learn statistics, because they feel if you don't have good knowledge of data and statistical and numeracy, you are not going to make a good leadership and decision making in whatever role you choose to endeavor. So you see people studying gender and they are doing statistics with R.
Mm, interesting. Yeah, I had one of my students is actually a Chevening scholar, and she enrolled for the course because she was like, these people want to kill us with data.
Yeah, everybody has to learn data.
Yeah. So we are so happy that in our small way we are trying to bridge the gap, and I'm
Yeah,
just going
that's
to
good.
allow you to have some final words, and hopefully our students, if you can say one final word to Saratu as well, that would be so lovely. You guys have been here till this time, and thank you very much. So,
Yeah, thank you too. Thanks everyone for staying to the end. I wish you all the best in your data endeavors. Don't stop learning and don't feel shy to ask Christian. No Christian is stupid or no Christian is silly. Feel free to ask Christian anywhere you find yourself. That's just the way to be.
Thank
Thank you so much.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you
Thank
so much, ma.
you.
Thank you so much,
Thank you so
Sarah.
much, ma.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
Thank you
you
Thank
so
you so
much.
very
much.
much.
For your
Truly,
time.
I'm grateful. Thank you
Yeah.
for your time.
Thank you all. I think somebody's calling my name.
Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank
Your link, your LinkedIn name, your name on LinkedIn.
Oh, it's my full name, Saratu Bello. Let me see if I
yeah,
can
if
just grab the link.
Accused Russia recent cancelled
Thank
military
you.
Saratu,
deportation since it invaded.
Oh, David, I don't have access to the chat. I could have posted it, so you just help me post the link. So good
Okay,
night,
yeah.
everyone. Take care.
I'll do that in a group. Thanks so
The
much.
chat.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
We really
Yeah,
appreciate it.
the link. I'll paste the link in the Discord server so that you can have access to connect with her.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. Good night.
Good night,
All
everyone.
right, guys. Thanks so much. See you tomorrow. For those who will be in
Thank
class
you. Good
tomorrow.
night.
Thank you. Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you, David.
You're welcome.
Thank you, David. Good night. Bye bye.
Thank you, David.
Bye.
Thank you, Saratu.
Bye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. David. Thank you, Madam Saratu.